that has been all over the news recently because of the abduction of Carly Russell. Well, the alleged
They're alleged. Yeah.
the abduction of Carly Russell. And I want this to be a four-part because I want to invite different people to have this discussion because it lands on us differently based upon who you are and where you're at. So
Mhm.
I just want to just ask you, what did you think when you heard that she was missing? And let's stop there. And then tell me what you thought when you found out that she wasn't really missing.
I just thought that I was saying this is another one of our black females who
Hmm.
someone's abducted. And the story sounded a little strange at the beginning because, why would you see a child walking the streets
Hmm.
on a highway? But I thought maybe she's a good Samaritan. She's going to help this child, and that was a ploy to get her into their car.
Right.
So at first I said, well, this kid, she was just doing the right thing. She wanted to save this child from being hurt. And then, someone else is like, well, that was just so I can get you in my car.
Mm.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with her too. I thought it was a blessing that, it's so hard for people to stop and pull over and help people,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the time of day.
mm,
And you're also afraid for your safety. But a child, I would
The
think,
child.
even for myself, I think if I saw a child on the freeway, I'm going to go help them because this is a baby. But I'm also going to have my phone in my car, in my hand and do it. And she did that. And then to find out that, you know, like your mom said, that it was a ploy. It was sad because so many of us goes missing
Mm-hmm.
and we don't hear about it.
Right.
Thank goodness for the internet and the cell phone the past 10, 15, 20 years that we hear so many things that happen to people that look like us.
Exactly.
absolutely. And what I'm loving is that our last guest is on. Mrs. Nicole Mangum is on. Uh,
Greeting.
Be- Greetings. I'm glad you can join us. Beatrice Hardy is on, and Mrs. Felicia Province is on. So the question I asked is, what was your initial thought when you heard about Carly Russell? When you heard that she was abducted, what was your initial thought?
So if I might, just jump in, interject. I have to tell you, when it first happened, I was so thrilled with the media coverage. And I was like,
Yes.
finally,
Yes.
finally, look, they're
Mm-hmm.
loving on me. They're giving us what we're supposed to have. I
Right.
was
Yeah.
so thrilled that she was getting the coverage she had. And then
Exactly.
when there were questions, I really got in my feelings and I was like, why is everybody questioning? Because I did not want it to not be so. And I'm hurt because I feel like there's a double standard. We don't get five, six, seven, eight, 10 chances, right? And it's
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
I'm here again. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're here again.
there's
You're
a
right.
double and yeah, and so now, now it's going to be that much more challenging for my daughter, for me, for us, for
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Exactly.
you know,
And we don't get coverage anyway when one of our kids, our women, our girls are missing. We don't get the coverage like the
mhm,
white counterparts. And
mhm.
this, when I heard that it was, she had made it up, I said, okay. So we got a little cover, we got a lot of
We
coverage.
did,
So
Mhm.
will
we
we
did.
get it again? Because they're gonna think, okay, that's someone else doing something
And
else.
calling wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And I'm glad you're bringing it up because people don't realize, over 100,000 black women and girls go missing,
Mhm,
and it gets underreported. But
Mm-hmm.
we hear about other races getting all the media coverage from the children who get abducted to the women who get abducted. And it becomes a nationwide, you know,
Search.
investigation, a search.
absolutely.
And
Amber Alert.
yeah,
Yes, the Amber Alerts.
That
Mm-hmm.
was started because of I can't remember the man's name, but it was a white little girl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
passed.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Why do you think we don't get the coverage? Why do you think we don't have the Amber Alerts enough about our missing children? What do you think that's connected to?
I think it's that much harder for us in terms of
Mm-hmm.
just getting that attention. But I also think that those of us that are able to often get the media attention and get what we need, it takes resources, takes a lot of
Mm-hmm.
resources, right?
I
Yeah.
agree.
Takes a lot of time. And we're doing, and I look at from whence we came. 400 years of oppression. We are honestly, there are a lot we need to work on, but there's a lot we are doing very well. And if you think
Yes,
about
I
the
agree.
trajectory of where we are as a community in such a short time, it's astounding. It's astounding. However, we don't often have the same resources and the same generational wealth to lean on, right? To pull in lawyers and this one and that one to pay them to do what we need them to do, because it comes down, a lot of times it's race, and it's screen,
Yeah,
so that's my personal feeling about it.
You know, I agree with what you said, but I guess my thing, you were talking about resources, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't have to, we shouldn't need resources. We
Mhm.
have all of these news outlets. So I don't per se blame the reporters. I blame the producers, the executives behind it, whether they want to cover the story. Is the story important, But when it comes to us and what they will report,
Mhm.
they won't. They won't report. We may get like a little thing in the newspaper, a couple of blabs on the news, but it's not constant. And we need that consistency. Now, that consistency is where the money lies when you
Right.
have to get a lawyer to really make them do it as often as they should, which is sad because I know that since 2020 and George Floyd, we've gotten more coverage. There are more reporters out there that look like us. There are more TV shows that look like us, but still they fall short of putting us on front. The comment is, if it bleeds, it leads. So they do not do that when it comes to missing women of color, whether it's a women or a child. We're not in the forefront, but let it be some white woman said some black guy did something to us. That's all over the place. We're finding out, and then the first thing they want to go into the police report. What did they do before? And it's like, you're always trying to go by what we did in the past and not right now in this incident. And they'll always do that to us, because now people are going to be talking about that child from here to kingdom come.
Absolutely.
And I think the media, they do have fault in not covering us properly. They really do, and they have to share the blame for it. And if it isn't the families of the loved one that's missing, or some organizations that are pushing it, and just can't do it all. But I also think as a society, we fail at examining why so many of us, so many of our Black women and girls are missing.
Right.
Why is it going on in our communities? Because that's where it's going. It's happening right in our communities.
Absolutely. Do you think it may be something about us not always feeling valued, or not being seen as valued in our communities, as being expendable or not important? Do you think that it goes all the way back to historical, to back to even slavery, about looking at what the Black woman's value is, what her worth is? Right.
Well, I think if you look at this country, literally, we are built on racism, literally, right? So all those beliefs, they're just part of the culture of who we are. So we're not going to be valued the same way. That's just it's. And I'm not saying it's right. Well, it is wrong. I'm not saying it's okay, but there's that understanding that we're working within a system and in a society where it's not equitable. We're not going to be valued the same way. So that's why, for example, when we go and we advocate for our kids at school, we got to come that much harder. No, I'm not going to be laid back, because I know what I have to work with. I know what I'm dealing with. That's what we live in. So my thing is, okay, what do we do? How do we pivot? How do we try to manage this as much as possible? And I don't think, the media is absolutely responsible for that. So what do we do? What do we do? How do we hold them accountable? Like I said, how do we pivot? I appreciate the brother, the lawyer. He's actually a Jack and Jill dad, that fought for George Floyd. And he's out there and he's doing it, and he's keeping things in the forefront, and he's holding people accountable. And I think about some of the people, just recently, one of the moms in my chapter, Elise, I don't know if you know her, she was a news forecaster, and she was amazing. Elise Finch, she just passed away.
She just passed,
She just passed. Wonderful woman. And her face, just seeing her on a daily basis, people taking advantage. She grew up right in Mount Vernon. People taking advantage and having opportunity, and you seeing their faces, and then keeping things in the forefront. I think it's just something that's insidious, that over time, gradually, through the opportunities we have and through the business we have, we just keep advocating. We just keep advocating, we keep pushing, and we keep understanding that this is what this country is. So
Exactly.
we gotta operate a certain way. We just do.
But what I meant by the media, I blame them. But what I meant is the people that we see at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
they have someone in their ear. They have a
Yes.
executive
Yes.
in their ear
I
telling
agree.
them what
I
to
agree
say.
with you.
So
Yes.
if they cross
Wholeheartedly.
the line, they know they're
Yeah.
going to lose a job. And unfortunately,
Exactly.
people have, they have bills to pay, they have family to take care of,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
have that. So I know, I
Yeah.
always like to believe that those Black reporters that we see on
Yeah.
television on all these
Yeah.
different channels,
Mhm.
I know they want to go off script. I know they do.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
seen some people go on script, and then you end up seeing them
Right.
over the weekend.
Okay.
You know
They
what I
will lose
feel like?
those spots during the prime time, and they'll get on
Yeah.
weekends because
Yeah.
they didn't listen to who was
They didn't
talking.
listen.
That's what I
But-
meant about
But
the movie.
I feel like very often the reason why certain things happen is because you have advocacy behind. People are calling that news station. People are saying, you know what? No. For example, none of us should step foot in Florida.
I live here.
None of us. But we
I
still
live here, but I agree.
They're trying to wipe
live
us
in
out in
Florida.
Florida.
Like, listen, I'm going on that cruise. I gotta stop. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm not going to Florida. Do
Right.
you understand what I'm saying? I want to hurt their pocket. Enough of us are not doing that.
Yeah.
And if we call those media stations, you have certain people that will call and call and call and say, I'm not supporting this and I'm not supporting that. And I give us our credit because there are those of us that are doing it. But that's where
It's
change
not
happens.
enough.
They gotta
Yeah.
be effective.
No.
Yeah.
That person
That's what the
not
problem
enough.
is. We are complaining
We
to
are
each other
calling.
and not to the powers that be.
Exactly.
Got it.
We are calling and
We have to
sending those
complain to
letters
certain people.
and sending those emails, me included. I need to do more too. I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I'm
We all
guilty.
should.
So
You
you think
know?
that we're not unified enough? Because one of the things that's interesting is that
Mhm.
there's Breonna Taylor, and I forgot the other woman who died in jail. I forgot her name. But those are the only two,
Sandra Bland.
Yes, Sandra
Yeah.
Bland. Yes.
Those are the only two times where I saw this nation come together to advocate and demonstrate. But every other major civil rights thing has been about a Black man being
Mhm.
murdered or shot or mistreated.
Exactly.
And it really sends a message about our value, because I know that there are more than just two women who've been mistreated by the system. But something you said resonated with me, because I know that I was invited to a couple of conferences that are in Florida from starting in August until December.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to each of them, like, wait a minute, we're supposed to be protesting. They were like, well, it's,
This is it.
this is it. They were like, we can protest in our own way. And I'm like, you're
Mhm.
having major people come into that state, and you know that there's something, but you're supposed to be about equity and social
Mhm.
justice.
Mhm.
But you're not looking at that. Or you're looking at the fact that you booked this thing.
You
And these are
booked this
major
before,
agencies.
yeah.
Right.
Before
So
all of this came
right.
around.
And they
Yeah.
were like, well, racism's still going to be here. And I said, yeah, but we have to take a stand, a
We
united
do.
stand.
We do. Because
And-
if you stand for what? What's the phrase go? You got to stand for something.
Stand
or
for something, or you stand for
right?
anything. You got to hurt them in their pockets, and that's what you're
You
leading
have to.
to. You got to hurt them in their pockets.
Right.
That's it. Mhm.
And I think we have grown so much as a community. Like
We have.
I'm proud of us in so many ways, but there's still more to do in terms of being strategic in that way, and us all having that thinking.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's sad when a Black woman or girl can't walk down the street, can't walk their dog, can't walk the campus, can't go to the store and never come back.
Mm,
We can't do it.
we
That's how they're being abducted. They're walking down the street innocently. They're taking a walk. They're walking their dogs. They're walking on the campus.
Right.
And we get
But you know what?
abducted.
I'm a big believer in twos. I'm a big believer in doing things in twos. Okay.
Mhm.
In today's society with phones, you shouldn't be by yourself. It's like it's especially at a certain time of day. At a certain time of day, you should always walk in twos. And I know some people like to walk at night because it's cooler.
Yeah.
Walk in a crowd. We have to be in a crowd.
We have
And
to
you also have to, alluding to what you had said earlier, we cannot complain to each other. We have to complain to the powers that be. And
Exactly.
even if it's the smallest thing, if you're in one of these grocery stores and you're treated a certain way, or if you're in one of these boutique
Yes.
shops and you're treated
Right.
a certain way, we have to keep complaining. We have
Yes,
to keep
and we have to
complaining.
go.
If you are doing something with the city and your city's not doing something right, we have to complain. And that is where I think that we fall off, is that we complain to each other and not to the powers that's going to make it.
Yes.
been in certain white neighborhoods and they got street lines. The street is always clean. They have people coming out every, a few months to cleaning this and cleaning that. And that's what we need to do. We need to use the politicians that are in our local areas to make a difference in our community. That's what starts.
But sorry.
No, you go ahead. I love this conversation.
It comes with entitlement. I love Black women entitlement, honey. I love it. And you know where I really see that? I see that there's things about the younger generation that drive me crazy, but there's things I love. Like somebody out getting ready to leave my career. I remember when I first came in, I called all the teachers by their last names because I was respectful and they were their elders and the whole nine. And I felt like I had to pay my dues, which is beautiful. But what I see about these younger sisters that are coming in, they feel like I'm here, I'm just as valued as you. There's some of it I'm like, okay, slow your roll. But I like the part where they feel just as entitled, just as even Steven. I love that. And I look at my girls having 2 daughters, right? And all the challenges, the ebbs and flows of raising powerful girls. It is a true journey. But one thing I will appreciate is their level of feeling entitled to things. They have that at a stage that I didn't have it at that age. I had to grow into it in terms of feeling like, no, I'm going to complain. Who's your manager? They may not do it like that. And they will eventually, but they feel within themselves like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with you?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas at the same age, and when I was younger, I used to feel like, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? So that's the beautiful thing I see in terms of just that entitlement, and even the difference between us and my mom. Like she didn't feel the same entitlement I feel at this age, and I think that's beautiful, and that's where the advocacy, comes from, because you feel like you're supposed to be treated a certain way, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I love that because that really shapes self-concept. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as worthy, right? And one of the things that we do sometimes with our sons is we have the talk. Like when you see this person, this is what you do. When you see a police officer, this is what you do, and I'll come get you, right? But sometimes, even with us esteeming our girls, there's something dangerous about walking while Black and being female.
Absolutely.
There's something dangerous where we can't walk by ourselves because people will sexualize us.
Exactly.
Right? And that when I look at even the recent movements about the birth control decision, that the people who are in the front of that movement does not look like us.
No, they're not.
And that with this, that there's this thing about that happens with us is that sometimes we don't esteem ourselves, and then our decisions don't look like we value who we are effectively, right? We value that, we teach our kids you're equal or you're just as good as everyone else. But then there's another message that happens where if you go to a store, you're still being followed. Where you're missing, there's no one doing a march, right? When the police shoot someone in our community, we're marching and rioting. But when an 8-year-old gets missing, I don't hear the riots.
You don't see the riots.
Yeah, when a woman our age, a woman older, a woman in her 30s gets missing, I don't see the riots.
You don't see the riots.
So it's that
you don't know their names.
Part of it is that we don't know.
Yeah.
Part of it is that we do not know. I think we know about this particular incident because there was a child involved.
Yeah. So
that is the caveat. That child made a difference.
You're right.
And if it was not for a child, we might not even know. And as Candy was saying, even with our children, yes, I have 3 boys and I have to have the talk. But with that talk, I make sure that they know, I want you to come home. So you say what you need to so you can come home. And best be sure when you get home, mama's got you. Mama is got you. I'd rather they say what they need to say and give them what they need so that they can come home so that I can step in and do what I need to do.
Right.
I have that experience in my life of being not of being in law enforcement or lawyer, just the experience of being a Black woman. And at my age, it's like I know what to do and I know who I'm going to call. Yeah. And that's my talk is based on. Like I make sure that I filled my children all of the years with being confident and knowing who you are. And just as good as anybody else. Don't let anybody come to you like you're not, because then you can school them with your mouth and with your education. My mother said to me years ago when I was a kid, the one thing they can never take away from us is our education.
Yes.
Our education. Lord knows I got plenty of degrees. They can never take any of that away from me. And then it's funny because when you're in certain situation, you're in a meeting, Oh, you have this? Excuse me?
Yeah.
What do you have?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So you don't have what I have. So you need to stop. Then you
Mhm.
need to let them know. And then this is the biggest thing about us women, that black woman attitude. And if you to stand up for your right, and you're not causing a scene, you're just talking like we're doing now. People, oh, she has an. I don't have an attitude. I was just trying to make it clear to you that I'm as educated if not even more. Because
Mhm.
that's what they try to balance us on. Is like, oh, they put us in categories. Either you're educated or you're not educated. And when you're educated, they expect you to be quiet. Excuse me. So,
Mhm.
so it goes back and forth between our black men and our black women, and it's sad. And we're nowhere we need to be.
Mhm.
We're better off than we were. But I
Yeah.
saw something on Facebook about Viola Hughes. Viola Hughes says, I'm just as good an actress
Mhm.
as Meryl Streep and all the other white actors that are very good, and she does not get the amount of money, the salary that those women have, and she should, because she's an
Mhm.
EGOT. And a lot of them aren't even EGOT.
Mhm.
So then it just makes you think. See, they're still trying to put us a certain way. But I will say this: this is on Channel 5. I'm not sure what it is in your areas, but out here they call Channel 5 Black Soul News. Have you
Mhm.
guys heard of that?
Yeah, Fox Soul.
Fox, yeah.
The
Yeah.
Fox.
My husband watches that religiously, and I hear things on that I never hear on the regular mainstream. And it's
Wow.
sad that Fox has allowed them to do it, and then you are allowing to do it when you know those same stories you are not putting on mainstream. That to me,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
why are you
Absolutely.
making something separate when it's all still news? That's what I have a problem.
Yeah.
But you're talking
Because
about Fox News, the regular Fox News.
The regular. Oh, we
It's
don't
yeah,
have to.
Fox
yeah,
Soul News.
Okay. Okay.
yeah. It may be because they may sometimes they're two different Americans. Did you want to say
Yeah.
something before we end? Did you want to say something?
No, no, no.
No.
I think
Because
I'm
this is a hot topic,
This
right?
is a really hot
Yeah,
topic.
which is why I said this could be a four-parter. But tonight we're just introducing the topic,
Yeah.
and from the people who are looking in,
Yeah.
you can see they were all activated because we
Yeah.
all have our stakeholders in what happens to our girls and what
Yes.
happens to our communities.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if we build up our children to feel like they're privileged, because so we can be
Yes.
privileged and
Yes.
subjugate at the same time, where
Mhm.
Yes.
I have privilege, but in
Yes.
certain places I don't have
Yes.
privilege.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Especially within our community, we have sometimes we defer power to our men because we want to protect them.
Right.
But by doing that, we sometimes put ourselves last and
Mm-hmm.
lose our power and our esteem.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I will invite you to come back. We'll talk again in a couple of
This
weeks.
was
But this is
wonderful. And
fun.
this was
Thank
so,
you.
I hope I meet you guys in person. This is my Sans. Love her. I'm so proud.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to like fangirl on you, but I'm so proud of you. I adore you.
Oh,
Well, she's my BFF from college.
thank
We,
you.
My daughter.
different
Ladies, I
journey.
want to meet you in person one day. Okay, it was so nice meeting you virtually.
Nice meeting you.
Absolutely.
This was so fun.
We'll do it again. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Everybody.
You well.